Greetings and good day. This is Donnie with TechWinter, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, guys, last month, Ring announced at CES 2023 that the Ring Car Cam is finally here. And ladies and gentlemen, as of the posting of this video, it has been now released, and Ring was gracious enough to send me one a little bit early. So for the last week, I've been testing this thing out. So today we're going to talk about the good, all of the maybe growth opportunities, and I want to show you as much real-time footage as I possibly can. So without any further ado, let's dive in and let's take a look. Guys, as of the posting of this video, the first video I did about Ring Car Cam, yes, called Ring Car Cam Announced, that was uploaded last month, is the most viewed, most interacted with video that I've ever had on this channel. Thank you for making that possible. If you haven't already, I'd ask you to consider liking and subscribing and sharing this content. It helps the YouTube algorithm, helps more people know about this channel, about the things that we talk about. So if there's anything of value that you see here today, please consider doing those things. Thank you so much. So guys, while I am a fan of Ring and this video is sponsored, this is completely my opinion. Everything that I'm going to talk about today, good and opportunities for Ring to improve and do better. I'm going to call out both today, but just talking about that unboxing experience, Ring has great attention to detail when it comes to the unboxing, the packaging. Everything is packed very neatly, very tidy. And just first impressions when I opened this thing up, this camera is actually very sleek and compact considering the shape and the design of it. And I'll talk about that a little more detail in just a minute, but just going right into the installing of this camera. Yes, it does require access to the OBD2 port on your car to receive power. If you were to use a different plug in your car, Ring actually would not support that. It will void the warranty. It does need to be the OBD2 port on your car. And it does provide constant power to the camera as well, even if the engine isn't running. So a lot of great positive reasons to go with the OBD2 port, and that's exactly what Ring did here. So just going through that install process here, there's just one little adhesive that you peel off and you stick it right to the windshield, and incredibly easy to handle. And then basically it's just working with the cables. It does come with a provided USB-C cable. That is a two-sided USB-C cable that plugs directly into the camera, and another piece that goes into the OBD2 port dongle that you plug into that OBD2 port. I will put a link in the description to a search tool that Ring has provided as well, because there are some vehicles that don't have an OBD2 port in an optimal position for this from a cable management perspective. They will call that out if there's an issue. It's best to know that on the front end before you go through that ordering process. So you definitely want to check that out and just ensure that your vehicle is one that is supported. So for the purposes of this install, this is in a 2011 Infiniti G25. Yes, it's an older car, but guys, I paid it off a long time ago. I enjoy not having a car payment. So I'm going to drive this thing until the wheels fall off of it. So honestly, just looking at this install, the most challenging thing wasn't connecting it, wasn't attaching it to the windshield. It was just the cable management. A lot of that is just, I'm a bit of a stickler. I hate seeing cables anytime they're there. I actually have a vent mount for my phone. It's a MagSafe one. I've done as best a job as I can to try to hide that cable. And huge kudos to Ring because they did come with this. Guys, this is probably the most important thing in the box. Yes, it is a pry tool that you can use to kind of press the cable in to where it's tucked in neatly behind the windshield, down and kind of where the foam is there. Mine did get a little bit dirty in that tucking process, but this thing was totally well worth it. I also appreciated they've got this little trench where it's easy to catch the cable and kind of just press it into place. This saved my bacon, but I will say of the entire install process, it took me less than a minute to get this thing plugged in and actually mounted to the windshield. I probably spent 10 trying to get the cable to where it was just right, and I was seeing hardly any of it at all, if any at all. But just looking at the camera itself and just the aesthetics of this thing, yes, it does have two 1080p cameras on it. One that's facing out, one that's facing into the car. The one that's into the car does have a pretty strong fisheye lens on it, so it's catching everything that's inside the vehicle. Very impressed with that. It also does have a couple of lights on it. It also has a couple of infrared lights on it as well. So at nighttime, it does illuminate, which I'm showing you here, just some of the real world footage of me driving it at night. You can see outdoors, it's obviously not doing the infrared, but inside the car, you can definitely see that infrared at work. If you ever don't want it to be recording what's going on inside your car, there is a little cover that you can flip up. It also does mute the microphone in that case, and it does continue to record everything going on outside of the car, but it does not pick up anything that's going on inside the car. Talking a little bit about just setting this up in the app, it was a very straightforward process. You're going to add a new device, and there's actually now a new category for the car cam. There's a little QR code that you scan. You go through the process of connecting it to your Wi-Fi. You do want to connect it to some wireless network. The idea that Ring has in mind here is that you're going to connect it to your home Wi-Fi network. Of course, I did that. It did have a firmware update that it needed to go ahead and install. Once I did that, that took a few minutes and we were off and running. Out of the box, I did go with the default settings that were recommended, especially when we're talking about things like motion detection. I went with a more conservative setting to where it wasn't going to see everything that was happening outside the car, but only if the door was opened or somebody actually got into the car. And I will say, these motion alerts and the recording process itself worked spot on. Every time I tested opening up the car, it immediately started recording. I immediately got an alert that motion was detected. This thing worked exactly like it should. On the power settings themselves, while at first I went with the default setting, which was very conservative, I did go ahead and go to a higher setting to where it would continue to stay running for even longer. Now, just a reminder, this does take its charge off of your car's battery. And if the car's not running, an alternator's not powering the device, it's not continuing to keep it charged, meaning that it is drawing some electricity from your car's battery. So over time, there is the potential of it draining your car's battery to the point where you could not start your car. Ring thought about this and they actually put some safeguards in place that does put this into standby mode. Something to be aware of though, however, if you don't drive your car on a regular basis, this camera could go into a standby mode to where you would not be seeing motion alerts. But guys, with all great Ring products, just like you would expect, this one, great motion detection, great two-way talk. This is something that definitely stands us apart from other car cams that are out there, other dash cams that are out there. That two-way talk, in my testing.
Test of the microphone, just testing out the volume of the microphone. How clear does this sound? I think it sounds pretty clear.
Very clear, very easy to understand. So guys, just looking at a little bit more of this drive footage here, I thought the quality on this was very good considering this is a 1080p camera. Yes, I understand there are other 4K models that are out there. Ring does a very good job with this. And something that's very different about this camera, if you've been a Ring customer for a long time, this one is actually recording and storing locally on the camera itself. Ring does say that it does record up to 8 hours of footage at any given time. There are a couple of settings in the app that you can configure to either have it delete at the end of the day, or you can have it basically stay stored there until the storage is full, and then the things that are the oldest will start deleting off of the camera itself. We'll talk about Ring Protect Go in just a moment, but I do want to talk about if you did not go with the Ring Protect Go plan, you would still have the ability to watch anything inside of the app as long as it's connected to your Wi-Fi network. If you ever want to download any of those videos, or you want to be able to access them if you're not near your wireless network, you do want to have the Ring Protect Go plan. As of the making of this video, this camera and the Ring Protect Go plan are both only available in the United States. It does run on LTE on the AT&T network. And in my testing, I live near a major city and I have great connectivity to AT&T, and I never had an issue trying to do live views or even pull down some of those videos while I was away from my home on that LTE network. When it came time to actually pulling down and downloading some of those videos, one frustration for me and one that I think could totally be solved through software updates in the future. If you actually want to download something, you can only do it in 20-second increments. That was a little bit annoying, a little bit frustrating for me. If you want to get both camera views, you also need to basically do them separately. When you ask for it to download, it queues it up. It basically sends a signal to the camera, and then the camera uploads it to Ring, which then allows you to download it to your device. So it was kind of a multi-step process here, a little bit clunky. However, I will say, if you wanted to get a longer recording, all you had to do was use those magic words, Alexa, record.
Alexa, record.
Recording traffic stop.
And I found myself over time using that a little bit more just to get some of those longer video feeds for me even to download for just our demonstration purposes here. Another huge positive here is when you say those magic words, it records immediately. It was incredibly responsive. It started in the timeline what was then called like a traffic stop. Now I will say, as far as recording is concerned, while I was driving, I didn't have any disruptions where it just, stopped recording for several minutes or anything like that. As long as you continue to be in motion, you continue to have movement that's happening on the camera, it's going to continue to record for you. Another great feature worth calling out here is that GPS that's built into it as well. You can always get tabs on exactly where the camera is located thanks to that connection. Yes, that is something that it does need to have some level of connectivity to be able to at least appear in the Ring app. So probably need the Ring Protect Go for that to work as well. Which, by the way, Ring Protect Go does come with a free 30-day trial as a part of this camera if it's something that you decide to continue to use ongoing. Your cost is going to be either $6 a month, or you can pay for the entire year upfront for $60. So basically $5 a month. One of the big concerns that came up in the comments with the last video was just the size of this camera and that it is larger. What I like about this design, huge kudos to the designers and the engineers who put this together, but with the shape that it is, from the perspective of the driver, if I stretch out my arm all the way as far as I can away from my face and I'm holding a credit card, that's about the size of space that it's obstructing. It didn't block my view. It didn't get awkward. It didn't get annoying. It wasn't blocking my view to where it was interrupting my ability to drive at all. The camera itself, I love that there's a hinge on it. And I mean, windshields are all made a little bit differently. So the angle of it, it has to have that hinge and you can adjust it up and down, tilt it to where you get a preference that you can really enjoy. Guys, I understand that car cams and dash cams is a pretty crowded market, but I love that Ring is here in the space now. They're innovating. I love the LTE connectivity. I love the two-way talk. I love this local storage. I'm curious to see if this now gets rolled out to other cameras in the future. One of the detriments, if you have a poor Wi-Fi signal, is that sometimes what's uploaded to the cloud might be jittery, it might be jumpy. But if it has the ability later over time to be able to upload some of that content, you don't get those glitches, you don't get those interruptions. I'm curious to see if the next generation of Ring cameras across their entire fleet start integrating some of that local storage. Very encouraged with what I've seen here from that. I look forward to hopefully seeing more of that in the future. And of course, if you're already in the Ring ecosystem, it's nice to see this in the dashboard now with all the other cameras that I already have. If you're already familiar with the Ring timeline and just how that works, being able to scroll through it, again, having that two-way talk, this is absolutely a killer camera. So let's take a look at that price. As of right now, it's $249 on Amazon, and that is available in stock. Again, you do have to be in the United States to be able to purchase this product. I'll have two links in the description, one to that product if you want to go check it out on Amazon. Also, the first video with this announcement where we talked a little bit more in detail about just some of the tech specs, some of the things that are behind the scenes there as well. And thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you haven't already, I'd ask you to consider liking and subscribing and hitting that bell notification so that you're always staying up to date with new content as it's uploaded. But for now, I'm Donnie with TechWinner, helping you make winning decisions when it comes to your tech. Happy driving, and you guys have a great day.